Hello and welcome to an interview I call Nosy Bones. I was an inquisitive guy in the military and I like to play games. So for those who don't know, the original dice were made of bone. And so me being nosy, I made an interview format where I have interrogative questions based on the roll of dice. I roll the dice. Someone I interview answers the questions based on the role. This interview features Michael Peterson, who created Nightmares CCG. Very fun game if you like trading card games, currently available on iPhone. It's going to be available on more platforms soon. Check it out on your mobile devices. Without any further delay, let's get to the interview where I get to roll some dice and ask Michael some questions. And this interview is sponsored by me. If you want some books like these three that are set in my farm setting that still has some fantasy overlap, you can check them all out. You can get them on Amazon too if you like, or get them at zarfling.com. Get the individual books, or get a secret envelope of confident I am content. Great for guardians to get their kids. Now on to the interview.
Hey Travis, first off, just wanted to say thanks for asking me to do this interview and giving me this opportunity to talk about Nightmares. I'll start by just introducing myself, talk about the game a little bit, and then I'll jump specifically into the interview questions. So I'm Michael. I'm the creator of Nightmares CCG. It's a digital collectible card game, currently available on iOS, but we're hard at work on a port to Android and PC as well. Can hopefully look for those later in this upcoming year. So what is Nightmares? So like I said, it's a digital collectible card game, and like a lot of card game players, I grew up playing Magic the Gathering, and I always kind of found myself drawn to some of the darker sets. A lot of the earlier Magic sets had like a darker kind of feel, had like the horrors and some of the, the really twisted looking creatures, and I always kind of found myself drawn to that aesthetic. So with Nightmares, I wanted to try to kind of recreate something like that. We're definitely going for a very dark fantasy vibe. But I also didn't want to just like have the artwork match that. I also wanted the gameplay to kind of accentuate that, for lack of a better term. I really wanted it to kind of have like a dark feel, and kind of feel like you're not just playing against your opponent, you're racing against the clock, and kind of like the walls are closing in, and just kind of build this sense of dread and almost kind of panic throughout the course of the game. So a lot of the mechanics we've implemented in Nightmares kind of play towards that idea. We have a sanity mechanic where you start with your sanity at its highest at 12, and each turn you lose sanity, gaining you additional resources to play cards, but getting you closer and closer to, going insane and losing the game. And when your sanity hits zero, regardless of the state of the game, whether you have more life than your opponent, less life than your opponent, nobody's lost all of their life yet. Regardless of the state, when sanity hits zero, the game ends. So it just kind of helps accentuate this extra pressure that we really wanted the game to feel. And we have a lot of other mechanics and card designs that kind of help accentuate that as well. So yeah, so it's a digital collectible card game with a dark fantasy theme. We currently have the original base set is available. We've launched 2 full expansions, and we're actually hard at work on the 3rd expansion now. So I hope that you'll check it out. And without further ado, let's look at some of these interview questions. All right, question number 1. So I'm a superhero and I need to change into my costume. I mean, I think the easiest way to go about it, right, is to wear your costume under your normal clothes, and then you just have to worry about applying the mask or whatever you're using to kind of conceal your face. As far as where, I guess it's kind of a boring answer, but you're kind of going to be in the moment, right? So I think you just find the closest building, something where you can hide behind, and just quickly throw the mask on, and then strip the rest down. So yeah, I think that's my answer for number one. All right, question number two. You have a bathtub full of whatever you want. What's it full of? So, my current physical TCG of choice is Flesh and Blood. For anybody who's not familiar, it's kind of newer. I think it's been around. I think they just did their 5-year anniversary. So there've been quite a few sets, but not as much as a game that's been around forever, like Magic. So I think you could probably fit the entire collection in a bathtub, enough to, build a legal deck of any cards of your choice. So I think that's what I'd go with. All right, question number three. How would my robot help with mundane tasks? Honestly, just things around the house, yard work, anything that it's kind of just a mindless task that I have to stay on top of, that me or my wife have to stay on top of, to keep the house in order, and being able to take all of the time that currently goes towards that type of thing and putting it towards the more important things in life, right? Spending time with friends and family, working on nightmares, the things you really get more joy out of in life. All right, who do I admire most for their creativity? So not to spend the entire interview bragging about another game outside of Nightmares, but I'd have to go with James White, the creator of Flesh and Blood. The system that he's come up with for that game is one of the most intricate and rewarding I've seen in a TCG in a long time. So that level of creativity is something I strive to match with Nightmares. Oh, I love this question. Definitely the Roaring Twenties. I think the way people dressed back then was fantastic. We're actually currently rewatching Boardwalk Empire, which takes place in that time frame, and I just love everything about the dress from back then. Yeah, this is an interesting one. So I think with just the overall size of the universe, right, it'd be really hard to make the argument that we're the only sentient beings out there. But I think you probably could make an argument that we're one of the more advanced, or at least that there aren't any out there that are advanced enough to travel between galaxies, right? So the easy answer, I think, is they may not be saying hello because, just like us, nobody's quite capable yet.